Alright, I am going to talk today about brain psychosis, mainstream psychosis, of how you human beings are not able to think individually on your own because you're so absorbed into whatever your mainstream psychosis might be. Now, lefties are deception artists. They use celebrities, their whole mainstream, their whole narrative, all their things they have in the bubble, all their celebrities. If you try to think on your own and disagree with anything they say, oh my god, you're outside of the bubble of what you believe to be reality. I'm here to destroy the Democrats' delusion that they're the mainstream. The Democrats are not the mainstream. If they were the mainstream, why did they lose this election? Trump won 2,633 counties, approximately 86% of the nation's counties. Kamala Harris won 509 counties, 24% of the counties. He won epically. She did not come anywhere close to winning. Thank God. If she was the mainstream, the stupid Democrats, then why the hell did they not win? Let me tell you why. Because they suck and nobody likes them. People see right through it, and the only sad individuals that don't see through it are the ones that are stuck in their mainstream psychosis and their brainwashing. Like my poor grandparents. Unfortunately, I come from a liberal family. They're elderly people. They don't know how to use the cell phone, the computer. The perfect victims of the Democrats' mainstream medias. They watch MSNBC. They believe everything. They think it's reality. They come from a different generation. They don't know how people are deceptive nowadays. Like the Democrats. All they do is deceive. It's confirmation biased. And ultimately, if you're a Democrat, you refuse to watch anything Republicans say because ultimately you just want confirmation bias to prove your point that you think you're so righteous and superior and better than everybody. The only one with a superiority complex are the Democrats that live in a false reality of life that's not real. Real life is not portrayed in the extremely leftist media. It's all biased. I mean, Trump could save a baby from a burning building, and the leftists would find a way to make this look like the worst thing in the whole wide world because they just really hate him so much because he's simply not their party. And if you watch that, you're like, oh my god, but their party is so righteous. Their party's not that righteous. There's nothing that they're righteous about. There weren't the good guys in history. Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican. The South were Democrats. I mean, the bad guys in history were Democrats. They act like they're so righteous today for some reason, which is crazy. And most liberals don't know history because they're ultimately the stupidest people in the universe. And they're so brainwashed and sucked by their party, stuck in their party, they just defend them tooth and nail. They will follow them off the cliff because it's mainstream brainwashing psychosis. So when you're talking to people who are extreme leftists, you have to keep in mind a simple concept. These people are brainwashed. They're stuck in their side because it's mainstream psychosis. They believe that that's reality, and they can't snap out of it. They're truly like NPC individuals who cannot think on their own. You have to understand this. For them to understand something would be shattering their entire reality that they've lived in. They're basically stuck in another dimension that's a false reality, and they'll believe anything the leftists do. The leftists could do the worst things in the world, like let's make children give puberty blockers and sex changes. Now the leftists would be like, oh my god, since it's a leftist, I have to act like that's the greatest thing in the world. They will follow them off the cliff because they can't see straight. They're blinded, they're brainwashed, and they're stuck in this party. If a Republican did that, they might snap out of it and be like, oh my god, Republicans are the worst people ever, because they want to believe Republicans are the worst people ever, because this is what's been fed in their faces since they were children. There's no mistake that the Democrats are the ones who go after children. They have, transsexuals in Despicable Me, lesbians in the Buzz Lightyear movie. They have no shame of going after the youth, and try to get you when you're young. I know the term liberal sounds so heroic. Oh my gosh, that is so heroic. That you think that they're so heroic. They call everybody else racist and fascist and sexist and oh my gosh, the worst names in the world. And they drill this in your head your whole life that you think that they're heroes. They're the heroes, and Republicans are the worst people in the whole wide world. And that's what you actually believe to be reality because it's been drilled in your head. And you think you have to agree Because, oh my gosh, that's the mainstream psychosis. Look at all the celebrities on your side. So it's brainwashing altogether by the Confederate Party, which was the Democrats. I mean, Jesus Christ, they're not like the heroes of history. I don't understand why people can't think on their own, but you can't think on your own. You have to follow suit and think they're heroes. Like I said, they drank the Kool-Aid, electric Kool-Aid, whatever. And if there's Democrats, you probably would too. If Republicans saved a baby, you'd be like, that's the worst thing in the world. If Republicans wanted to put their country first, you'd be like, that's also the worst thing in the world. You'd find a way to make everything look like the worst thing in the whole wide world, and this is just what you do. You will always do that, because it's a rival party. But what Democrats don't understand and refuse to understand is the reality that Republicans are actually not as bad as you think they are. And if you could lighten up and understand this reality, it might save you a lot of stress and hardships. The Democrats want you to think everyone's a sexist and a racist, etc., etc., etc. But what if you realized and woke up that that's not actually the truth of life? And if you realize this, life might look not as bad as you have been drilled in your head by the Democrats to make it think that it looks, so you vote for them. They're the ones ultimately making you live in such a terrible view of reality. And let's face it, they're a political party. That's what they do. They want to win. That's all they care about. And if you don't see through this, then you're an NPC character. And you got to be able to think on your own. But you can't, because you only want to follow suit. And if you snap out of it, it's like you're truly in a brainwashing thing. I suggest you snap out of it, stop trying to fit in, and let me crush the mainstream narrative that you Democrats are the mainstream media right now. There's no such thing as the lefty mainstream. You guys lost the election. Like I said, you only won 509 elections. The Republicans won 2,633. Approximately 86% of the nation voted for Trump, including me. Everybody did. I mean, Jesus Christ, 20 million registered Democrats voted for Trump. He won epically. The Democrats only won 24% of the counties of the country. Trump won 86%. Now, if you're such a mainstream, then why did you lose so epically? Let me tell you why. Because CNN, on any primetime episode, gets 547,000 views on average. Those are not really mainstream numbers. Fox News does over 5 million on a standard episode. Their leading news outlet, MSNBC, gets 4 million views on a primetime episode. In a nation of like 400 million. The Joe Rogan podcast does 10 million. And he's a YouTuber. Which means someone's YouTube channel is beating your so-called mainstream leading news network. You think it's mainstream, but your viewership sucks. There is no mainstream there. It's a delusion. You think it's reality. It's not reality. It's an extreme leftist biased party. They'll go down kicking and screaming, doing everything they can to try to make you hate the country. And look at their history. Are Democrats going to secede from the Union again? Because it wouldn't be the first time. Fought a war against Abraham Lincoln, the Republicans, a Union. Democrats are not great people. They need to grow up. You think that they can maybe try to calm their population, try to make everyone calm, and, you know, like try to not rile people up. Oh, they lost. It's their moral duty to try to make, you know, people voted. The people have spoken in epic proportions. Trump won 86% of the counties. She only won 24%. For your 24%, why can't you try to make things appear not as terrible as humanly possible? Because ultimately the Democrats trying to make everything seem as terrible. It's like they're intentionally riling up what's left of their party into doing domestic terrorism and to be angry. You know, I'd like to see a future where if someone wins an election, the rival party doesn't act like a sore loser over it. And to the remainder of their party, they try to keep them calm. They don't want to create a panic. They want to calm people down. But that's the opposite of what the left is doing. They're acting like this is the end of the world, even though the people have spoken. And they're trying to rile up what's left of their party, which is having an opposite effect of making them likable. Maybe they're not as great as you think they are. If they're really the bigger man, the adults, the intelligent, the mature people that they claim to be, then why can't they try to take a higher road and try to calm their population, make them think it's going to be okay, instead of going down kicking and screaming and acting like sore losers? They're riling what's left of their party up so mad, so bad, and so angry That's actually turning more people away from them. It's like they're in a fight, they got angry, and they can't think clearly. And when you're in a fight and you get angry, you lose. Why can't you act like adults and try to calm your followers? But you try to make things appear as you're the ones making everything appear as terrible as possible. You're the ones doing that narrative altogether in the first place. The Republicans are not as terrible as possible as you think they are. You're trying to make them appear that way. You're the ones that act like it's the end of the world. You're the one creating that entire narrative. If you could only see that whole picture they're doing. I can. Just see through it all. They're not heroes for creating the narrative, telling everybody else that everyone's bad. So you think that, oh, they must be the heroes. Wow, very heroic when they're the ones ultimately riling people up to think the opposite in the first place. They're playing the heroes to a narrative they created. You've got to be able to see outside of it and see that. And if you can't, it's because of mainstream psychosis. You're following them blindly, and you think that's what you're supposed to do. You think they're the mainstream, you think that's how you're supposed to be. You're brainwashed. So like always, much love, and, try to think on your own, and don't let everything work you up so badly, and stop thinking you're such heroes for attacking people that have moral values with a different of opinion than you have. They want to put their citizens first, their families first, and they prioritize what's important. I mean, you have to think about the futures here. What do Republicans even actually want? Because to solve the Democrats' problem, they have to understand who Republicans actually are. Logical people. I myself am a Republican, and I thought logically about these things. You want to put your own citizens first, which is a given. If I went down to Mexico with no passport, visa, papers, you know what they'd do if they found me? They'd deport me. Same with Canada, same with the other nation. It's a principle to put your own citizens first. I'm all for legal immigration because it's the only way an immigrant could actually create a good future and have a good life for themselves. I don't think it's a benefit to anybody, not even the immigrant, to have illegal immigration. I'm thinking about their futures. American-loving legal immigrants, I'm okay with. But not illegal immigrants who despise America and just want to use it and take advantage of the opportunities it has. I mean, imagine if I went to Mexico and used it for its opportunities, or Belgium, or if I went to another country with a passport or visa and try to take advantage of the system, of the taxpayer there, and I wasn't even thankful or appreciative about it. I'm all for thankful, appreciative people, and don't get me wrong, I have nothing against these people's lives. I want the best for everybody to be happy. But it's your duty as a nation to put your own peoples first. Here's an example here. Imagine this. As King of Scotland, I wear this crown as a testament of my duty to the people of Scotland, as it should be. Now imagine I said this. As King of Scotland, I wear this crown as a testament of my duty to everybody else before my own citizens. They come last, and we're going to pay for everybody else and their lives first. That would be a rogue nation. It wouldn't be right. Now again, it's nothing personal against illegal immigrants. It's just a matter of prioritizing your own citizens first. Logic decides that the needs of the majority outweigh the needs of a few. There's about 400 million Americans. There's about 20 million illegal immigrants. And like I said, being an illegal immigrant, I don't think you have the ability to build a good future. You have to go back and do it the legal way, and you can actually build a good life for yourself. But if you're in a nation, there's over 400 million Americans, are your own citizen, and there's 20 million illegal immigrants, and you're the president of this nation, what is your priority or duty to prioritize? It's your own people, and that goes for every single nation, including Mexico. They don't put us first, they put their citizens first. Every nation doesn't. It's your duty to put your own nation first, and your people in the multi-diverse country of citizens who legally live here. It's a practical matter. There's nothing racial about it. But Democrats want to reduce it in the most childish fashion. Be like, he's doing it because he's racist. That's not reality whatsoever. We as a nation have spent $36 trillion in the past few decades. We have $17 trillion alone left in the bank account. And we have a $2 trillion debt deficit. We know 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16 in 8 years. the country's on the verge of bankruptcy. And if the country goes bankrupt, things like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security go under for everybody. And even worse, the value of your dollar in your bank account, everyone's bank account in America, becomes worthless. Because we simply can't afford to house everybody. No nation on earth can. It's not personal, it's a matter of practicality, the future of our children, the future of our nation. And again, it's not personal. I wish the best of life and luck for everybody. I wish that their country could prioritize their citizens and, take care of them properly too. And I'm all for legal immigration, because legal immigration could offer you to have a good future. There's nothing racial about it, it's just a practical matter. It's the very simplest thing in the universe. And Democrats don't understand this reality. So as always, the key to peace is understanding. And if you're able to understand what other people's motives are and not feed into the bias and the bullshit and think it's for the worst reasons in the world, you really need to understand something simple. The Democrat Party only cares about trying to win elections. The Republicans could do something for the best reasons in the world. Think about the lives of everybody. And yet the Democrats would still try to find a way to make them look bad. Because they're a rival political party, and when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, all the Democrats care about is controlling the narrative so they could win the future election. If you think you're watching actual reality, and if you're sucked into that for mainstream psychosis, and you think that's how you're supposed to be because you've been told your whole life that they're the heroes, Republicans bad, that's not reality, and it's a sad reality to live in if you think that is real. It's not real. And you can snap out of it on yourself. Find your own self as the individual that you are. You can think however you want. No one's going to stop you. I know the Democrats make you think that you'd be the worst person. They'd be angry. This is how they trap you in their side. It's not treason to vote Republican. The first Republican was Abraham Lincoln. The first thing they ever did was abolish slavery. It's your American freedom to switch sides as many times as you choose to, and don't let anybody tell you it's not. If you do what you think is right, that's your own choice. And, bless you. And I hope you make a moral choice. And I hope you base it off facts, not what you think is going on. You need to understand things. The key to peace is understanding of each other. Patient, logical, not wrapped up in emotion, not one-sided, not getting angry. You got to think purely logical. Understand things from a logical decision. If you could understand these things logically and make a proper choice after viewing all the facts, unbiased to anything, snap out of the emotions, the ego, then we can have peace on earth. But people are going to disagree. People are wrapped up in their emotion. They're angry. They can't think straight. They can't think logically. There's going to be disagreements in life. You can't get angry about it every single time. And maybe if you try to understand the disagreements of their standpoint, maybe it might make a little more sense, and then you wouldn't get so angry about it, and they could understand your standpoint. If only we could listen and speak to each other and come to a reasonable place. We don't need to be fighting each other. Be glued to that party, think you have to go to war. The first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, resulted in a civil war. The Democrats and Republicans have been at war with each other ever since the first Republican president ever entered the scene, Abraham Lincoln. The South, which were Democrats, voted to secede from the Union, establish the Confederate States, and started a civil war against the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln. And I was told in the late 1990s, or the 1990s, that officially the South became Republican over 100 years after the Civil War in 1861, over issues like taxes, etc., etc. In the history, the Republicans were not the bad guys. They supported the Civil Rights Act 80% compared to Democrats 63%. But the Democrats have been here longer, 1828 versus Republicans 1854. So that's why they own the mainstream. That's why the Democrats act like they own the place, want to own the place, and are so viciously trying to be in charge of the place. Ever since the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, a civil war broke out. And ever since, the Republican and Democrats have been at war with each other, politically. Snap out of it. Learn history. Learn the truth. And don't let the Democrats dictate your every thought and decision. They're not the most honest of individuals in the world. So, They act like they're such heroes. Why? By stirring up all the drama, by being so vicious. It's ugly. Take a break from politics. Find your individual self. Think on your own. And search for peace on Earth. Love thy neighbor. If only we could just agree to disagree, and be able to have civil, capabilities to get along. But we're being pried by parties, especially the left's party, prying you that you can't get along. Snap out of that. That's going to make them chase away everybody. They're not taking the high road. If only they were. Don't let them, the Democrats' mainstream medias, the only ones attempting to dictate anything, direct your life. And make you think everyone's terrible, so you think they're the heroes. It's a sad reality. That's not real. Everyone's better than you think they are, and does things for different reasons that you don't think that they do it for. Good people, snap out of it. Just snap out of it. Think on your own. Alright, as always, peace on Earth.